I'll call the Board of Education meeting. The regular monthly meeting is September 28, 2023. It's called to order at 7:32 p.m. Can I have roll call, please?
Mr. Baldowski?
Here.
Mr. Banta?
Here.
Dr. Bertolini?
Here.
Ms. Favolovich?
Present.
Mrs. Mahan?
Present.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Here.
Mr. Spindell?
Present.
Ms. Yorman?
Present.
Mr. Barbarula?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Fairlawn Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof distributed to the persons on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education administrative offices, and sent to the Bergen Rec and the Star Ledger. The announcement posting for the regular monthly meeting, along with the date, place, and time thereof, was distributed on January 19, 2023. The items to be discussed during the executive session, if needed, of September 28, 2023, which we will have. Regular monthly meeting may include personnel matters, student matters, legal matters, negotiations, and/or grievances, and tactics and techniques utilized in protecting public safety and property. The results of these discussions will be made public as soon as possible. Can you please join me for a salute to the flag? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to turn over the meeting to the Superintendent, Acting Superintendent, Camille DeFranco, with her superintendent comments.
I just have a few items this evening, and we have a representative from the high school. We talked about rotating our representatives in for this year, and even at the end of last year, there was some commentary about even having elementary school representatives. So we're starting with the high school this round, and then we're going to talk about rotating that in as we move forward with our next meeting. Seemed like it was a long time ago, but this is actually our first official regular board meeting since the opening of school. So just wanted to comment on what a nice opening that we had. Many thanks to our attorney, John Comegno here, who provided such a wonderful opening day speech on courtesy. He has such a wonderful relationship with us that he wanted to make sure that we were able to listen to his message. And there have been several times throughout this school year that our staff heard this message and then was able to apply this message. In fact, I was just in an admin team meeting, and a line came up from one of our, someone doing a workshop, and it was the same exact thing that you had talked about. So everybody in the room, it was just like a great full circle moment on that. So thank you very much for that. We had the kickoff of our field lights, which everyone was very excited about on our new Sasso field. On our first day and opening of school, the entire staff got to see a video of our new superintendent, and we were very happy. Our new superintendent, Dr. Rui Dionisio, did spend some time already in the district this week meeting our admin team. He sent out a message to everyone yesterday in the community for staff and parents. You'll note that on our district webpage, so make sure that you do take a look at that. We are very happy to have him start, and he's already been making some connections here. One piece of information that I just want to extend my thoughts and prayers with. We had a loss at the beginning of this school year. One of our students, Yonatan Berkovici, passed away. He was a student at the high school, lovely young man, involved in our programs at the high school. So if everyone can just think of him and his family, and just wanted to let his family know that we're thinking about them, and we hope that they are doing the best they can during this difficult time. Now I'd like to call up our student representative to talk to us about happenings at the high school.
Let's try this again.
Thank you for your patience.
Of course. Good evening, board. My name is Prima Maranganti. I am honored to be this year's student representative for the Board of Ed. Just a little bit about me. I'm also the senior class president, and I've been involved with student government and class council since 5th grade. And so this is really the place where I really want to be, and I'm really grateful for all of you for having me and listening straight to the students' voices. And as you were saying, having a rotating basis to hear from everybody is incredibly important, so I appreciate that. Speaking of the field lights as well, I was actually just at the game at Sasso, so forgive me if you see any of the face paint. It's one thing, Cutter's are really good at spirit. But right now we are at 42-0, so we are winning. And we're actually undefeated this season, so keep your fingers crossed. We had our back to school night this past Tuesday, so that was, in my mother's words, her last back to school night, God bless. But I was also a tour guide at that event, and it went very smoothly. A lot of parents are definitely back and really excited to see their kids back in school, especially after COVID. And speaking of, a lot of kids are now getting really involved in student activities, not just on the class council side. We've seen an incredible uptick in people attending our club fair, which is actually next Friday. We've had a lot of interest and questions about that. And especially with our General Assembly for the Student Government Association, that is going to be up and running starting next month. And we are hopeful to have a student dialogue as well with that coming up. And in other news, we have our mass production. It's called Peter and the Starcatcher. You might see me on stage as well if you come. It's November 14th and 18th at 7 p.m. So please be sure to come out and support. And in terms of the senior class, we have started our bagel sales. I'm going to embarrass myself here. This is our logo. Bagels, bagels, bagels. And that is how we sell out every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday by selling our bagels. We sell them for $1.25, so not a ripoff. And all of our class councils are starting their fundraising efforts. So we have, actually tomorrow is the class of 2025's fundraiser at Habit Burgerville from 4 to 10. So if any of you are interested in supporting the class of 2025, that is going to be their first big fundraiser for the year. And I believe on your agenda you were voting on the senior prom. So please keep us in mind for that. That's all from me. We've had a really, really successful opening. Thanks to you guys and all the work you do, and the parents, of course, and everybody watching from home. We're honestly just really excited to be back, and we hope to have a really, really good, for me, final year, but leave with a bang. So thank you guys so much. Yes, any questions, comments, concerns?
No, I was at back to school night the other night. Not having any children have been through it, but it was fun watching parents be lost.
Trust me, I know.
No, what I'm saying is I find it amazing how you guys know exactly where to go because you're there every day.
I mean, you say turn right and then the parents turn left. There's only so much you can do at that point.
Sometimes been there 4 years, still don't know B wing, C wing, D wing, and it's like whatever.
You're gonna get more of that if you become a lawyer.
I don't know how you do it.
What I would
will
suggest is that, and I know you're on Instagram a lot, and you're gonna help me get my Instagram account, because you've been telling me for 2 years. But I would be grateful if you can let the board know when the fundraisers are, make sure that we get notified so that, you know, I know it's like, it's on different things, but just in case it would be nice, you know, if we send it to administration, they can forward it to the board, so we can support if we want to, because I know for myself, I can speak for myself.
For sure. Actually, that being said, I also wanted to, when I ran for this position, one of my major points was trying to have a stronger direct line of communication with the students and the Board of Ed. So all of my email and everybody on the Student Council's email is the same formula, first out last school year, after on SDS. So this year we'd really like to open it up. If you have any questions, any concerns, directly speak to us. We'd really appreciate that. I've already promised Mr. Barbarullo I'd help him become Instagram famous, so please feel free to reach out at any time. And I'm also behind the official Fairlawn High School account where we'll be posting everything. So that's probably where our primary source of communication will be for that too. And I'll be sure to send everybody, or at least Mr. Barbarullo, he can send out to the rest of you our flyers.
And I look forward to our student dialogue thing and a nice, successful senior year, so.
Thank you so
And
much.
yes, I will be there to watch you in masks. So, I can tell you that. Thank you, Priya.
Right.
Excellent.
Anything else?
Okay, do you have any other comments? Nope.
Not at this time.
Okay. Okay, this time I'm gonna open up to the public. Any comments on the agenda only? If you have any questions or comments, please address them to the president. We'll take them all at once, and then we'll ask So if anybody has it, please step up to the mic, just state your name, don't give us your address, just, with a fair one. Any questions or concerns on the agenda? Okay. Do you have anything on the form?
Nothing.
Nothing on the form. Okay. Now I will open it up to board comments on the agenda. Rita?
So I would like to say thank you first to the administration for bringing Abradoodle to the elementary school after school. So thank you so much. I always want art and music after school for enrichment, so thank you so much. I have a question on the contract. It said $250 class max, and then it says $20 class child, parents pay. But we are approving $10 per, so I'm a little confused how the contract and this doesn't match.
Sure, I'll answer. Do you have more questions? Because I do have
Well,
a
yeah,
response.
if you have more questions, we're gonna have all the questions at once. So go ahead, just give away your question.
Okay, number two.
Ed.
We are providing bus drivers for the Fair Lawn cleanup. Based on my calculation, I was told that each employee will get 281 times 2, that's $562 per week, per session, times 4, that's $2,248. So my question is that the amount, and why are we not including the exact amount for the cleanup? So we are approving the cleanup, but we're not approving how much exactly this is gonna cost the district. And I'd like to know how much it would cost and why we're not including that. Number 3, we were provided a bill for LEAF, L-E-A-F. I would like to know, it had the previous BA on it, so I would like to know how is this utilized in our district? The next thing is we are approving for our staff, the substitute for our staff to be there during the Abradoodle for the elementary school. And we're approving the substitutes, and I have no issues with that. But I think it should have, this is my personal opinion, it should say the maximum amount we should be paying for that, and it should be said like on a need basis or something like that, not the amount. It should say on a need basis, and the maximum amount that could be paid versus just the amount that you're gonna pay, because obviously it's on need basis. On our bills, we have a bill that is for $4,000. I asked for my write-up, what does it mean? And I was told we don't know where it is. It's on our bills that we were provided. So I would like to know the $4,000, how it is, why are we paying that?
What's the bill for?
Montclair State University.
Thank you.
The senior prom, I understand that it's kept private exactly where the venue is. I would like to know when will it be told to the students? And why are we not, I understand we can't say the place, but maybe the cost per child should be included, because that's what we're approving in a way. But nothing is divulged, it just says senior prom, so the cost per student is not included. I also would like to say thank you to the volunteer club advisors. That is item K, 7K, so thank you so much. I also would like to thank the PTAs and the PTOs for their donations this time around. And I would like to make a motion, and my motion is the PTAs work really hard and they do a lot of great things for us, and the least that the board can do is recognize them during every single meeting, no matter how much they provide to our students, because they do a lot of amazing things. And some of the things that they do, I spoke to another member of the board who was there 30 years and did not know that they were doing this until Mr. Nursi said, oh yeah, that's what, they do that too. And I would like, no matter what the.
We're not making a motion right now, this is board comments on the agenda, we can make the
Okay, when
motion
can I
later, you can
make
make
my
the motion later, go ahead.
New business, okay. Okay, that's my questions at the current moment.
Okay, wanna answer them?
Okay, so we do note that the information that we gave on, I hope I'm getting it right, Natalie, Abradoodle?
Abradoodle.
Okay, wonderful. On Abradoodle, what you're seeing, the motion that is typed on the agenda is the amount that were given in our conversation with the vendor. The form that was given was for informational purposes, and we have contacted the vendor because since we received that form, the conversation changed, and what you see actually on the agenda is current and accurate. What we did hand out today was not as accurate as I hoped, and we are awaiting a different form from the vendor. It's not a contract per se, it's an outline of service. Natalie, if you need to speak to any other part of this.
Yeah.
We will be receiving that. We would like to start with the motion, which is outlined in detail on the agenda, so that we could start and have these services ready for our students.
So what Abercrombie provided on that communication with my office was that if a parent signed their child up for their classes, it's $20 per class per student. If I call them in as a school district to come in during the day and work with a class of students to provide a service, it's a maximum of 15 students and it's $250 for a class. I'm not really asking them to come in and work with our students during the day. It's really, the board is being very generous and helping offset the cost for parents. So the cost of the program is $20 per class per student. 8 classes, it's $160. So we are indeed using that first number they provided. And so then the 160 divided by 2, you'll see with the motion, parents are paying $80, district is paying $80. It was confusing because they were just sort of providing us the different options. Yeah. Make sense?
Yes,
Yeah,
I just wanted
okay.
to double check.
No problem.
I will check back into the leaf contractor. I know that I received that, unless Danielle can speak to that as part of our bills list, but I will,
Yeah, I can just
Okay.
clear it up. It's just a 5-year lease, so they probably had my predecessor as the contact,
Mhm.
but we can certainly update that.
And it's a 5 leaf of what?
That's for the copier machines.
Oh. It's like leaf, is it leaves or is it?
It's actually the finance company for the Canon machines.
Oh, that makes sense.
we note your reference on providing a max amount or on an as-needed basis. We just want to make sure that this is covered on the agenda. There is a bill from Montclair State University. I believe that it relates to our consortium.
It's the MSU NER.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
NER
Montclair
Munster.
State University Network for Educational Renewal. Yes.
Munster.
Yeah, we've been
Been
a
doing it for
member of
years.
that for at least the 11 years I've been in this position and probably longer.
Yeah,
So it's something we belong to
that's been going
every
on,
year.
I mean, Gene, you've been around long.
Yeah, it's been forever.
That's been forever
Yeah.
since I've been involved.
And in relation to the senior prom, the only action item that the board is being asked to take tonight is the venue. All the other information will come from our class committees in terms of cost and what that will unfold, but tonight it's only a venue
Can I speak
process.
to that?
Mhm.
Also, you don't have an exact cost because they do fundraisers and also stuff like that, so they don't know. It could be $80 per person, but after they fundraise and stuff like that, it can go down to $30 a person. So they have donors that donate and stuff like that. So basically, like she said, what we're doing is you're just approving the venue tonight, which is very nice, and there's some other good things for the seniors this year that finally coming back. So that's what it is, but there's not an exact cost. And the cost, the seniors know with the prom, what they're paying. They gotta pay whatever it costs, they gotta pay, so. But that's why there's not an exact cost tonight. Any other questions?
I think you missed one about the bus driving, the cleanup.
Oh, yes.
I can speak to
Okay.
that.
Mhm.
For the Borough Fair Lawn cleanup, I did research, so we've been doing that every single year as far back as I can remember. That's a cost that the district absorbs, so it's part of our donation. So the contract does not include a cost because the board is just absorbing that. It's not something that we're asking the borough to pay for.
It's part of shared services.
Yeah, I don't see a reason why that costs. They're our employees and we're paying them, so I don't see a reason. Overtime is included in their contract.
What my concern is, we're approving it, I have no issues with that. What I have is, if it's a cost to something, even when we absorb for field trips for buses, we still write the cost is $500. Even though the students are not paying for some of our field trips for the bus, we are absorbing the cost. It's just nice to write how much it actually, what's the value?
Yeah, we can take it into consideration.
Mhm.
Also-
The additional compensation though is already in the negotiated agreement
I
for the
have
bus
no issue with
drivers.
that. I just want, if it's a
But-
value of any sort and we're providing, I have no issues, but it should be on the agenda,
But
that's
their
all.
problem is that in years past, sometimes they request 4 bus drivers or 4 buses, they only need 2. Sometimes they request 1 and they need 3. So it depends, because if they don't get enough volunteers, they might not have enough volunteers for 4 buses, they only have enough
Yeah.
volunteers for 2 buses.
Like
So they're only gonna ask you for 2 buses, that's it, they're not gonna ask you for 3. So there is no exact, and every year it does change. 1 year it's 1, 1 year it's 3, 1 year it's 4, so when it's done, it's done. But that's all part of our shared services committee with the town, we've been doing that for years and years and years. That's it? Okay, Joe?
Thank you. Just want to welcome our new student rep. Great presentation there, and we look forward to listening to you as senior class president then, at a nice bookend at graduation then. And inflation has hit everything because bagels were $1 when I was there, so.
I'm sorry, it's a fun.
$1.25 now. Yikes.
You're old.
I know, right?
You're getting
I've
older.
aged. I am getting older, I need to accept that. Simply just wanted to note, I want to thank the administration for everything they are doing energy-wise and initiatives for green energy. I will be voting no on the 2 gas-powered buses as I have in the past. And that is it, thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Consistency.
No, I just can't wait till, Ed?
Just a quick question. I do appreciate that the board is supporting the after-school program, and it's $80 per family per child. But is there anything that we do for students that are on free and reduced that may not be able to afford the $80? I didn't hear anything in that
I'm
discussion.
sorry, say that one more time.
What are we doing for the students that are on free and reduced lunch that can't afford the $80, even though it's only half of what's being charged, and the board is supporting by the other 80? But $80 for a family, for an after-school program that's on free reduced lunch is a large amount of money. So I would like to see something in that where we support students that are on free and reduced, so they are part of the program. Because that's a lot of money for somebody that can't, obviously, paycheck to paycheck.
We can certainly, if a parent or a family has any sort of issue with that, just like we've done with many other situations in the past that don't even relate to enrichment, we've always asked for them to, like a field trip or something along that line, we would ask that they would reach out to their administration and we can have that conversation.
Could we put it on the flyer that for economically disadvantaged families, please contact? Because sometimes if it's not listed, they don't reach out. But if it's there and they know they get free and reduced lunch, they will more likely reach out. And I don't want to exclude a student from a program because of money, in my opinion.
We could look into that.
Thank you.
No? Okay. All right, seeing none? Move on. All right, I need a motion to approve. Well, I went over, I said anybody else, and nobody said it, so go ahead.
I want to be.
That's fine, that's fine.
So,
Just- Go ahead.
Good?
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with that.
Thank you.
A lot of parents are too embarrassed to reach out, and they see it and go, wow, this is great, oh, it's $80, and then kind of just throw the piece of paper away. So I agree with that. And just talk to Danielle about the executive minutes, which she will be, if you want to speak about it.
I just had, Mr. Camegno review them, so from the compliance standard, if you'd like to just speak on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there was a concern about specifically executive session minutes, noting a resolution. It indicates motion by whom, and then by second, final resolution, motion carried. The yeses, if there are any noes, it would be reflected to them. The motion, this is accurate. The motion is to come into public. The motion is to close exec and to return to
Yeah.
public.
It wasn't clear that it was, the way it was written, I've seen like executive session minutes in my travels, and I've never seen it not say resolution is to close,
Motion, you mean?
to close,
I'm good either
yeah,
way.
or open.
All right.
yeah.
Okay,
I
so-
just never saw it like that.
okay. So, thank you for that. I have no problem with these minutes being voted on tonight, it sounds like, if you're okay,
Absolutely. I can advise.
indicating that in the resolution moving forward.
Sure.
We good with that?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up.
I just saw my name all over and I was just like, wait, I didn't say that. I didn't vote on anything.
Anything else?
And just, thank you to the administration for a wonderful, opening of school this year. And all the back-to-school nights, I wasn't able to attend any, but it was a warm welcome to the community, to the parents. So thank you very much.
The only thing I wanted to say is, as everybody else stated, thank you to all the, what do you call it, the PTAs and PTOs as usual, the hard work that they always do, and time and effort, and it's a lot of the same people that do it, but they put a lot of time and effort for all the children of Fairlawn in the district, and I give kudos to them, because it seems as they leave Elm Elementary, move to middle, and then move to high school, and it's the same group of people over and over again. One thing I will recommend to the public, get involved with your PTAs and PTOs. You wanna get involved on this level, that's where you should start, and support them and anything, even on bake sales. If you don't bake, go to ShopRite and buy a box of donuts and put them in a thing, they can make money off of that. So, no, I'm not trying to be sarcastic or nasty, I'm just saying, support it, because it does all go back to the kids, trips, everything else that they do, and programs and stuff. So they're a tremendous help to the Board of Education. And also, I wanna congratulate the retirees, on, we have, a lot of years here, 26, 17, and 15, but Tom Cancelosi, who's been phenomenal in this district for years and years, phys ed health teacher. My children had him, my daughter simply adored him, because she's not athletic, and he understood that. She's gonna hate me when I said that publicly, but that's okay.
It's not like it's on TV.
I don't, she'll admit it, but I want to wish them all the best on behalf of the board in their retirement, and enjoy it, stay healthy, and enjoy every day of it, so that's it. All right, can I get a motion to approve of the minutes of the special action meeting on August 15th and the regular monthly meeting August 24th?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Baldowski?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini?
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich?
And we're doing 5, right?
Three.
Yeah.
Three.
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Yorman?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Can I have a motion for items 5A to 5E?
So moved. Second.
That's a point of order now.
Go ahead.
I thought we were gonna wait on C.
We are,
We're
may
moving
I?
one item.
Go ahead.
We are holding, as we briefly discussed, the first HIB noted, pending additional conversation in executive session.
So we're not gonna include that as part of the scope.
So what is offered are all the others.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Baldowski?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini?
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich?
I'm abstaining on 5C.
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Yorman?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Need a motion for 6A to 6D?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Baldowski?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini?
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Yorman?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. I need a motion for items 7A to 7K.
So, okay.
Second.
I make one.
So
No
moved.
one said anything.
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Baldowski?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini?
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Yorman?
I'm gonna abstain for 7D4 and yes for everything.
7D4.
D,
D, D is in dog.
B is in boy.
Thank
No.
you.
B is, B doesn't have numbers.
Yeah, it's right.
This is my
That's-
updated one.
So your copy doesn't match what's.
Can I just have a second just to take a look?
Here.
I see 7B4.
7D4,
B is in boy.
B4,
B is in boy?
I'm saying the same thing.
That's what, yours is an
It
appointment,
is
so
in
it's
our-
like,
it's on the paper.
Oh,
it's an
oh,
appointment.
it's not on here, okay.
Are we looking at A?
Yeah.
Oh,
I have,
7AB. It's
yeah, I
A,
have what she is.
B4.
Got
Oh, 7A
A, B,
before?
four.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
No.
Yes, 7A,
Yeah,
it's
7A.
not certificated,
But it's 7B.
but that's not actually 7B. 7B is approvals of resignations, retirements,
Yeah, but all these are
terminations, and
saying 7B.
rescissions.
Lisa, which one do you want?
I have it.
Yes.
Yeah,
We have it.
We got it.
Okay.
We're good?
Teamwork.
Mr.
We're good.
Barbarillo,
Yes.
motion passes, thank you.
Can I have a motion for items 8A to 8C, please?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Baldowski,
Yes.
Mr. Banta,
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini,
Yes.
Ms. Spavelovich,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan,
Mrs. Mahan.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Ms. Yurman,
Yes.
Mr. Barbarillo,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for items 9A to 9D?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Baldowski,
Yes.
Mr. Banta,
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini,
Yes.
Ms. Spavelovich,
Abstain on 9B.
B as in boy, right?
B as in boy.
Mrs. Mahan,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Ms. Yurman,
I'm gonna abstain from 9B. And yes for anything else.
Mr. Barbarillo,
Yes.
motion passes.
Could I have a motion for items 10A to 10P?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Baldowski,
No to 10M and yes to everything else.
Mr. Banta,
Yes, except I have to abstain on 10C, my name. My name.
Just him. Just him.
Just me, yeah.
Dr. Bertolini,
Yes.
Ms. Spavelovich,
Abstain on O.
yes on everything else.
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Owning an electric car, you gotta go with Joe. No on 10M, yes and everything else.
I understand. Ms. Yurman,
And having driven a Tesla down in Austin, Texas, I'm gonna say no to 10M.
and Mr. Barbarillo.
Joe, no offense, but we need the buses
We
up.
need the
And Joe, when you let
I
the
didn't
buses
think it was
come
gonna
out,
change.
just for you, I'm gonna come to a meeting and just make a point of that. But I agree, I do agree with you 100%.
You almost pulled it
Yes.
off.
Yes.
More than I thought.
Motion passes.
Yeah, we'll have kids sitting
We'll
in the
have to
car.
bust our kids.
Well, why can't they get you? Why don't watch your bus? You're gonna walk down. We'll give them scooters.
I just need.
Electric
No,
scooters.
no, you don't wanna do that, then you have broken elbows.
All right, we are not voting on any policies tonight because we didn't have the policy meeting, which we are having next week, October 5th. So a lot of those policies will be on next month for their first reading. So at this point, I'm gonna open up the meeting to the board, to the public, for any comments they wanna make on anything that they wanna speak about. Just again, state your name, step up to the podium, sign in, state your name, Don't give us your address and speak about whatever you want to speak about. We will be taking all the questions, by the way, and then we'll answer them after you're done, just so you understand.
Hi everyone, I'm Leora Seltzer. I live on Addison Place in Radburn. Thank you all for everything you do, and taking your point about the PTA. I make the t-shirts. So a few months ago, many members of our community came out to speak about Hebrew, adding Hebrew as a world language to our schools. And everyone, people spoke from their heart, and it's something that's really important to us. And I think we ended it with the fact that it would be very helpful to have a survey about languages. And we know that there are other potential languages in our community, and we are very happy to see people excited about their heritage and their languages. And so we wanted to come out and ask for an update or see what where it's standing in terms of the survey. The school year has started, so it could be a good time to get the ball rolling on that. And as mentioned by you and by other members of the community, just having a checkpoint about which languages are important to the community, including Hebrew, of course. And we would love for an update on that.
Okay, well, I will answer your update. Mr. Mayor did email me the other day, and I did respond back to him. I have been in contact with the new superintendent. He is definitely in favor of doing a survey, and he's gonna put something together. He'll be here sooner, hopefully sooner than later. Depends on what goes on in his district, but he will be here by November. But he's gonna try to work on some other stuff to get it out, because the survey, he does agree, needs to include all languages that are possibly to be spoken, and what we would look at and stuff. And in the meantime, he's gonna speak to the administration about the feasibility of finding teachers for any different language. So he is on it, and he has been in contact with Mr. Franco, so we are on it. I know you would like to see it for next school year. There's a possibility it is, but like I said, it's a moving piece, and we are staying on top of it. But I have been in contact with the new superintendent weekly and keeping him abreast on certain things. So like I said, hopefully next month I can have something. I have Mr. Mayor's email. I will be more than happy to email him back when I find out some more stuff or when it's gonna go out or what's gonna go on, okay? But we are on it, and he agrees that, the survey, he said we shouldn't just do it just for the Hebrew, but we should do it for all, because you might find out a lot of people don't really want this language or that language, and it's just this, so. He says, but we need to be, fair to everybody, so I said, I agree with you 100%, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Step on down.
Hello, good evening to all of you, and thank you very much for everything that you all do. Really appreciate that. As the new school year started, my youngest one is boy, and he entered the high school. Him being before in the middle school, it wasn't an issue, and we didn't realize it, but he was able to leave the school on Fridays during his lunchtime, which was from 12 to around just before 1 or something, to go for his obligatory religious prayers. Fridays are most important day, and the afternoon prayers are the most important for us. And so we didn't realize it, but once that the school year has started, and for the first Friday, I emailed his teacher and his guidance counselor. I came to pick him up and took him, but that evening I received a call from the school informing me that that would not be possible, because high school has not just the grading system, but the credit system. And if he's going to be missing his class or delayed in his class coming in, that would affect his graduation, which is extremely aggravating for all of us. I'm sorry. So right now, that yes, I'm not being able to pick him up, or he's not able to leave school during the prayer times. He has found, like I was told, I checked with one of the other students that has graduated, that how did they do? And most of them, they're like, it's very difficult for us. We do not have any space, because when I was speaking with the admin, I asked them if there's a separate prayer space for them, for any students who want to go, not just the Muslims or not just my son. And there's no space. And when I checked with a few, one or two, one of them told me that yes, when sometimes, not every time, sometimes when they were able to, they prayed into the locker room, which is again a really disturbing thing, because prayers needs concentration, focus, and boys' locker rooms or girls' locker rooms are not the right places to be able to do that. So that is my concern, that maybe we need to look into something, adjustments of the time periods, separate proper space for, because as the we keep on talking about the mental health, and then the right things are not there for the students to be able to, it's affecting their personalities, it's affecting their behaviors, it's affecting their lifestyles. So we need to be able to look into those things also. And I appreciate if that could be done sooner than later. Sorry, one more thing. My sons are also doing, they created a team under Tomorrow's Children Fund, which is associated with childhood cancer at the Hackensack Hospital. And so they created a team for the walk, and they were trying to get this thing rolling. And I just had, I was able to speak with, again, one of the admins in this high school. And I came to know, because when I checked with them how they can do that through the school, publicize and ask everybody, the first thing I was asked was, is it through any clubs? But there's no cancer club anymore in the school. And there's no MSA club, because they can't have any, they don't find any advisors. So those clubs could not be run. And seeing that, at least I know that since January of 2002, I'm not going even back, at least in my knowledge, 2 of our students have passed away because of childhood cancer. And currently there are at least 2 students who are in treatment. And Fairlawn has its, over the years, a good share of students with cancer. So, I mean, I don't know how this could be resolved, because if there's nothing and the students can't do it because there's no clubs or no advisors, no teachers doing the advisory, then it's become difficult for them to do anything about it.
Okay.
Thank
All right, can you sign in, just make sure you sign in, please? Thank you. You want to comment on it?
Yes.
Okay.
So, for the first one, I will definitely talk to administration and look into the matter for you. The one that you raised about credits, class time, and prayer activity, I will look into that. And also for the clubs, there may not be a designated club to that one area, but I do know there are many clubs at the high school that do fundraising for various cancer organizations. I would encourage your son to reach out to his guidance counselor so we can try and connect him with an advisor of another club or activity, because there might be an overarching club where I know that we have sent things out, either sometimes it's through student activities, sometimes it's through student council, sometimes it's through, the name escapes me, like Helping Hands, no. Interact, thank you. So there are opportunities to support those organizations and for us to raise that awareness, but it might just need to come through our, current club and activity base. And then, every year we kind of talk about what students might be interested in, and then we'd be glad to look into what other more specific clubs we may want to form.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Is anybody on the forum?
We have one, it was actually from earlier on the agenda, but it came in a little late. There was a thank you from one of our teachers, Erica Mulkey, saying, I want to say thank you for giving teachers like me a chance to be a forever learner and have the ability to move up to a higher degree status. With your approval tonight, she was able to do that. I think being a forever learner is the best way to be a wonderful teacher.
Good. Excellent. All right, so anybody else from the
Thank you,
public?
Erica.
Okay, this time we're gonna open up on any business to board members. Joe, then Rita. Go ahead, Joe.
Simply wanted to highlight this weekend is a tree planting at Westmoreland School with the Green Team and Shade Tree Advisory environmental team in Fairlawn. I encourage the community to come out to that, as well as board members, especially since it is at one of our school buildings. It's 1 p.m. on Sunday, this Sunday. And then also highlight the Fairlawn High School Community's Fall Festival, since that will happen in between our next two meetings, which is October 8th at the high school. It was a great first event last year. That was their first one, so this is their second annual. So I suspect it will grow even bigger. Look forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Rita.
Before I start talking, am I allowed to make a motion here, or when can I make a motion?
Make a motion. Now you
I can make a motion here?
Now you can make a motion,
Okay.
yeah.
So the first thing I was hoping the administration may consider, although I love reading 50 pages of the agenda, if they could make a one-page highlight of what was approved every single board meeting, so the public would be able to see everything, like a cheat sheet. Like instead of, so if they could be considered to put it like a summary of the meeting with like a couple of things that were approved, if it's possible, like the most notable things if possible. Another thing is I'm asking the administration, we started with Mr. Narcia, and Mr. Narcia was very okay with doing this, so I'm hoping the administration can continue. We have videos for the YouTube, and I was looking for a video for an hour, and I still can't find it. I was hoping it could be organized by the year, so like we have the agenda, so we have 2000, whatever school year, and then we have that 12 videos for that. And for the policy meeting special, just said the year and then 12 meetings, the year and the 12 meetings. So then if I can't, so otherwise it was giving me 2017 really quickly, and I was just looking, I was, it's very disorganized, if it could possibly be considered. Another thing is last meeting, which was the audit for the gifted and talented, we were talking about the coding, that they're gonna have new coding, and I really appreciate that, and I say thank you to the administration. But I was hoping that administration might look into, Rutgers has a boot camp program for 9 months, where nobody that has any coding experience goes from 0 to knowing coding just in 9 months. And I was hoping the administration may team up with Rutgers, like we do with Fairleigh Dickinson University or other universities, and make it into a 4-year program. So I have classes that 9 months and break it up into a 4-year program, so the students can start with freshman year not knowing anything about coding and take 1 or 2 courses, however the administration makes it, and then by the time they finish, they would get the certificate the same they would get from Rutgers University. Why is that important? Because people can find a job making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 without any other degree. So it's like our CT program, that we don't have to build anything, we don't have to do anything except just create courses, which we can maybe hire a couple more teachers, obviously, for that, but it's not such an expensive expense. And the last thing I want to do is make, before I make a motion, I want to say, before August this year, the field trips that the PTAs paid for some of the busing and other things, were never put on the agenda. And Ms. DeFranco was nice enough to finally put it on the agenda from now on, starting August. We were allowed to put any transportation, because as PTs, you pay for busing, you pay for sometimes for the tickets, you make it wonderful for the children. So I would like to make a motion that any donation and any amount from $0 to $1 million to be put on the agenda to recognize for the PTAs. That's the least we can do for all the wonderful things they did for our community and for our children.
I'll second that.
Okay, can I just answer
That is my
some of the items, or how does it work with the motion, or?
Well, we have a first and a second, so now
I
I
have
have
a
questions and comments, so you can make a comment.
Okay, all right,
You have a hand up? Okay.
because some of it was not, okay, some of it was not motion related, but, all right. As far as the one-page highlight cheat sheet, we do highlight on the agenda the changes that are there. We can discuss as a central office team about a cheat sheet. I will say that I do believe that the highlight should suffice in terms of what is new. Creating another cheat sheet will be an additional task. I'd like to just keep it to what we are currently using, and if we need to discuss moving, going to a cheat sheet moving forward, perhaps that's
She has her
a
comments.
conversation that
Let
we
her
have in
make
the
her-
future. Okay.
Okay, go ahead, what's,
I
what,
think, Ms. DeFranco, you understand,
Okay.
it's not for the board,
Mhm.
it's for the parents. Once we
Mhm.
vote on the item, the highlights, like, for example, prom,
okay,
or some conferences, it's just for the parents to get a highlight
Okay.
of all the things, not us. It's for the parents,
Right.
not to read 50
Okay.
pages.
Mhm.
They will have one page with all the highlights that were
Mhm.
done in the board meeting, for example, tonight. Things like prom and the conferences or
Mhm.
field trips that were approved, because sometimes that's all they're looking for, and it takes a while to look for that on the agenda.
I'll let her finish her comments, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
I do understand where you're coming from. Everyone would always like something that is a little bit more simple. However, there is a process whenever we approve. We want to make sure that we include that and have it noted in the right places and the right locations on the agenda. And our minutes speak to what is approved and what isn't approved. I'm not sure if we create a cheat sheet, then we would have to think of what everybody else's definition is in terms of a cheat sheet. My recommendation is to just keep it as it is, and if parents need advice on where to find certain things that were approved, they could call over to the superintendent's office. I'd be glad to lead them through that. Or our building principals can communicate in a better capacity if it's going to be a field trip or something that's more relevant to each building. As far as videos to be organized by the year, I will have tech look into that again. I know that has been raised before, and we would like it to be a bit more organized. I do
You
agree.
can actually just click, if you click sort by, it goes from the most recent to 2014.
Policy, all that.
Okay. And maybe that's something we could, maybe that's a feature that we could add, or like a direction on the agenda that we can add. That might be something that's easy to do. Thank you for bringing to our attention this opportunity with Rutgers Boot Camp. It certainly could be something that we could investigate. I would say that one of our CTE goals is to ascertain information from our students as to what their interests are. So we will be asking students for information as they meet with their guidance counselor, and also during other instructional opportunities during SEL time. So we could always ask that question to them about coding, and then if that is of interest to them, then it could be something that we pursue as a result of our CTE goal moving forward, and that's a good resource to have. And I think I
Do you
already,
have any comments on the motion? Because I don't mean to,
right, I want to make sure that I answer.
I know that, but I would really talk about the motion first, and then we can, but now you did all
Okay.
that, so let's go back
The
to the
motion,
motion.
okay,
Do you
so
have any
then,
comments on the
we
motion?
do have a venue for parents to, for our PTOs, as we have always done. Anything can be given to us in terms of what they donate. So I would say most of our PTs avail themselves of that opportunity by completing the donation form, and then that's how we are able to get that on the agenda. I would continue to encourage the PTs to use that form, because then we have a running record of what they donate, and that's how we can include it on the board effectively. We have included multiple things
Yes.
on our August and September agendas,
It's,
assemblies and
Can
other
I-
things they've donated. We have ones that are upcoming. There are some on the, tonight, I think, believe, like laminators and other supplies for teachers. So if a PTA is going to be donating something to the building, please do contact the superintendent's office. We could lead you to the form, and we would be glad to recognize you on the agenda.
one of the other comments, it's on the agenda tonight, approval of gifts. Everything the PTAs have given is right there. It's on every month. So I don't know what else we need to put on, but it's on every month, what they do. It tells you exactly where it's coming from, what the description is, and the amount from each school. So it even tells each school too. Any other comments or questions on the motion?
I have my hand up.
Okay,
and I asked you.
I got you, Mike, I put it down, relax.
Okay, whatever.
All right, I really don't need that,
Well, I don't need it either.
all right, let's go.
I'd like to be called on when I raise my hand.
Go ahead, Michael.
I appreciate, and certainly the PTOs and PTOs know that I'm one of their biggest fans. Every month, someone from the board thanks the PTAs and PTOs. We go to activities of the PTAs and PTOs. We speak to the PTAs and PTOs. Unless we're pandering, I don't think that there's a reason really to, we're here at this meeting to approve agenda items that affect the kids and that affect the district. I don't think we need to do another place other than gifts and thanking the PTAs and PTOs when it's time to thank them. The big way I think the board could thank the PTAs and PTOs is to go to their activities and show them that we're supporting them in what they do. And I think maybe ask the PTA council, well, there's gonna be there's a motion, so it's gonna be voted on, but I would ask at the PTA council meeting if they want that more recognition than, or if they feel that we're giving them enough recognition already. Because we really do, I think, make it clear that we support our PTA and PTOs.
Thank you. Julie?
Actually, I had a specific question. Can I ask Rita a question on what she's looking for?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so are you looking for something besides like who it is, who the donation is, the description of the donation? Because that's what we currently have. What are you looking for?
So I did a pivot table for the whole year of donations from all PTAs, PTOs, everything.
Right.
And anything lower than $250, we do not put on the agenda at all. And
Okay.
even if it's a $100 donation and it helps our children, we should recognize it. I don't understand, first of all, and second of all, before August,
We already changed that, but go ahead.
before August, transportation for busing for field trips were never included, because that's what I was looking for, that's how I created the teacher appreciation lunches that PTAs, PTOs sponsor every year, are not anywhere on the agenda. I didn't even know that, and there was a board member who's been here for many years, did not know that that was going on. So I would like to recognize them. And I wanna make sure I don't think, as a teacher, I don't wanna be always recognized for what I do, but I would appreciate if somebody does. So I don't think that the PTA should tell us, oh, you're not recognizing or enough. I think it's just because we wanna thank them, and the least we could do is just put it on a piece of paper. I'm not asking for the administration to do anything else, to just put it on a piece of paper and say, thank you, at every meeting. That's all I would like to have.
So you'd like, I just wanna clarify, you'd like a recognition on every board meeting that says thank you to our PTA?
No, I want every single thing that they donate will be on our agenda. That's
So I just, can I ask another clarifying question? Are you aware that our PTAs don't always submit information for like lunches? Like, I can tell you that every month, the parents of Milnes, we call it a, Stack Our Staff Lounge, and we all send in snacks from an Amazon wish list. And that comes out of our own pocket, and it's not a donation from the PTA, from our parents. So yes, we are PTA members, but maybe this is something, I'm gonna use Michael's recommendation, I'm not gonna steal it. You are actually the trustee that is attending the next PTA council meeting with Mr. Barbarulo. It is on our committee roster. If you'll note, in October, you're the person to go. Ask them. Ask them, because I will tell you, and I'm not gonna speak for her, but the president and the two vice presidents of the Milnes PTA are not gonna submit $25 every time they buy a box of granola bars. They're just not gonna do it. It's more paperwork for us. So maybe ask them before we submit a motion, because I think you're asking parents to do things, remember they are parent volunteers, that maybe would be just too much effort. So it's the bigger things, it's the most recent, Hispanic Heritage Day from Radburn, that was a donation, that was a big donation, that was something that needed to be approved. A staff lunch doesn't need to be approved, it's just what we're providing because we care about our teachers and we're grateful. If that doesn't have to be approved, it's more work for us.
I just wanna correct you, it's student dialogue, not the PTA.
No,
I'm sorry.
PTA council, I thought.
We looked at,
No, student dialogue.
it's student
I
dialogue.
apologize. Well, then you are welcome to go in my place, because Ron sometimes lets me go. Because I do think it's a good question, but I will tell you, and I don't want to speak very front of my, I would tell you that as someone who's very active in our PTA, I'm not sending in a document that says I donated a box of granola bars this month. It's too much effort.
Gene?
Could the secretary just read back the motion, please?
There was a motion by Rita, seconded by Lisa, to approve all donation costs from PTA and PTO groups.
I don't understand what that means. Approve all
Acknowledge it
donation
on the
costs?
agenda. Acknowledge it on the agenda.
Approve all
Could-
donation costs.
Could you read it one more time, please? I'm sorry.
Motion by Rita, seconded by Lisa, to approve all donation costs provided by PTO and PTA groups
On the agenda.
on the agenda.
So acknowledge.
Donation costs?
Meaning
Doesn't make any sense.
I'm sorry, acknowledge any contributions that they made for the month.
Okay, that, all right.
I'm sorry if I.
That's okay.
All right, that's all. I just wanted to know exactly what the wording was, that's all.
Okay, Lisa, I got you.
I changed it to acknowledge.
I have a
On the
couple other
agenda.
questions, but
all
related to
No,
this.
we're gonna talk, we're on the
Yeah,
motion.
related to- yeah,
The other ones you
related
talk
to
about
this.
later.
I wasn't gonna even say anything as far as that goes, but when I saw the pivot table, and the thing is that I'm a bookkeeper, so if I was the treasurer of a PTA, PTO, and I gave donations to the Board of Education directly, I'm not talking about a parents group that just puts their money together, it's writing checks from the PTA, PTO, I would want to know that there's a second, like I can look somewhere else and say, was I right in what I did here and where did it go? In case you didn't have the notes, because every PTA and PTO has to file a tax return. So your books and their books kind of have to match. And so I think it's like a good thing it can go on the agenda and you could say, hey, balances out. So I'm not saying, say, $100, $125, blah, blah, blah. If it's, you add them all together and you say, this is how much they give us a total for this particular month. It's an easy Excel spreadsheet that you can.
Which is what they can do if they complete a form, and then we can place it on the agenda. So there needs to be some sort of path or some sort of way for us to know exactly what the donation is, what the donation description is, and the donation amount is. So if the PTA chooses to complete the form, we'll be glad to put it on the agenda to recognize what they may have donated to us. It's just up to them to do it. So I just want everyone to be clear that we do have a mechanism for PTAs to receive recognition on the agenda that's been established. You've seen it on there before. The threshold that we used to put on the agenda was $1,000 or higher. We have taken away that threshold, so now if they submit something, no matter what the cost is, we have now put it on the agenda. We're hoping that that will give a pathway, a better, stronger pathway for recognition for our PTAs, and they can elect to choose to complete it for something that might cost as low as $5 or something that might be as high as $5,000. And we'd be glad, our office, the superintendent's office, will take those forms, they submit them to their principal first, obviously, so the principal knows what's going on. We just want something to show up, and then it could be memorialized in the agenda.
All right, just a point of information, point of order, whatever you want to call, because we're going on and on, okay? And I'm going to have two more people speaking, and that's it, I'm calling the vote. Number one, as far as the appreciation, as Julie stated, appreciation breakfast, appreciation lunches, all that stuff, majority of that is done by the parents of each school. They do that on their own, okay? They don't look for reimbursement on how much they spent. They do whatever they want. It changes every year. Every other donation has changed, and we put it on and we recognize that. Again, there's a lot of people, it's the same people in a lot of the schools, and I'll say it, because I see them every year that do it day in and day out, and they know how well appreciated they are by this Board of Ed and this administration. We have to also keep in mind, everyone, that we are constantly lately coming up with ideas to add more work to our administration. The number one thing for our administration is to administer the schools, the children, okay? So keep that in mind when you come up with your ideas, because you want to do this sheet, this sheet, whatever, that takes time. That's somebody else, whether it's a secretary or whoever, it takes time that they gotta put in to create that. And at the end of the day, how many people are gonna do that? So as far as the, you talked about the transportation, now it's included, okay? I was under the assumption that when it says we're donating $2,500 to go to the Museum of Natural History, everything was included because that's the way I seen it, but then sometimes it's not, because sometimes the parents pay for some of the transportation. So that's another reason why it was not put on the agendas at times. But now they're doing that, they're hearing everybody. So, but again, as far as that, everything else that they do is pretty much approved and recognized on these agendas and has been. And as far as lunches and everything else, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes that we don't even know about, and they don't care, they don't want you to know about. Julie, I'm gonna go to Ed and Joe. So if you really, I rally, and I wanna wrap it up, because everybody spoke, and we've been on this for a while. So Ed, you got it, then Joe, and then we'll call for a vote.
I think a simple clarification. I think recognizing the PTOs and PTAs is an important thing, but I think based on what I'm hearing, is that if there's a form submitted, whether it be for $5 or $5,000, it's placed on the agenda, so we are recognizing them. If they decide not to do that, they don't do it, but if it's $1, we recognize it now on the agenda.
Correct.
Okay.
Joe.
Nope, I'm good.
Can I quickly just read an example?
1 minute, I'm not being a
So,
pain in the neck, but I wanna get this to vote.
Currently, if the PTA for Mills, right, because that's what I can only speak about as a parent, we currently can't give the books that we're donating to our school teachers yet, because we're waiting for approval on it. So if we submit it as a donation for whatever cost, if we give it to each teacher, without providing like a donation slip, because it's under $250, correct? What was it?
We're putting all of it on that.
Yeah, we're putting all of it
Putting all, no matter, there's no
Right,
threshold.
but there's a certain number that you must
Oh,
submit.
yes, correct.
Right, if it's over $250, you have to submit a form, correct? If it's under that, right now, Mills is waiting to give books out to their teachers because we submitted a form. We hadn't submitted the form, so it can be, it's tedious and it doesn't get to our kids directly. So if we're asking them to always submit a form for $0 or $4 or $25, it's more on the parents, it's more on our PTA.
Just wanted to point of reference, it could be $4,000 and it's still not recognized on the agenda, just wanted to point it out.
When is it not recognized on the agenda? Go to the gifts tonight and everything is on there.
In May,
Everything.
June,
And we just said, Rita, we changed it, okay? It was changed. We heard you and they changed it. So now going forward, it's on it. But as long as I've been on this board, any donation has always been recognized by this Board of Education and by this administration, ever since I've been on this board. So now I'm calling for a vote. Let's go.
Mr. Valdowski?
No.
Mr. Banta?
No.
Dr. Bertolini?
No.
Ms. Faye Belovich?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan?
No,
Mr. Rosenberg?
No.
Mr. Spindell?
No.
Ms. Yorman?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarula?
No.
Motion does not pass.
Okay. Ed, you had some comments you
Yeah,
wanted to make?
in
Good
regards to the parental request for prayer on Friday, my recommendation would be, because again, in my former district, we had a similar situation where students wanted to pray during lunch, to find a room or a conference room where it's an open space and they can dedicate it. A locker room, I think, is inappropriate, to be honest, but a classroom or a conference room where you could dedicate that during, like, say, fifth period lunch for any Muslim student that wants to pray on Friday. I think we could probably find somewhere in the high school that has an open classroom where the kids can go there if they want to during each lunch period. But I also think it should be during the lunch period, because obviously, credits are given for attendance in such spaces.
Yeah, I'm not against it, I agree with you, we should look for a space, has to be a certain time, but we also have to look at the policy that goes on about the credits and everything else in the
Yeah,
schools, because that's part of the policy. graduation and everything else. So like, if we're gonna change something like that, that's something that has to be addressed as also a policy. So not only are we gonna look for a place, but we have to also look at the policy, but we'll definitely look into it, okay? Mike?
I actually did, at one point, a few years back, we did start to do, and it was under Nick, I believe, we did start to do a board review of the meeting shortly after the meeting, a couple days after the meeting or the week after the meeting, where it said just some of the things that were approved. It didn't go into detail, it didn't go into anything, except it was, and a lot of boards do, to tell you the truth, a lot of boards do that, do that. And it is sometimes helpful to see, for the public to see what we're voting on and what we're not. Very, very brief and just, and acknowledgements to the PTAs and PTOs could be part of that. But I'm not asking for a motion, I'm not asking, it's just a point of reference that you guys could talk about and see if it's not that onerous. If it is that onerous, I agree with what Ron said about putting more and more on the administration to do when they're supposed to be working for the kids.
Mark?
I have a question and a comment. I just wanted to ask, you about the prayer. Is there a certain time that this particular prayer has to be said?
Yes.
Between what time, what time?
Between 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock.
Okay, because I thought if it was a little later, they obviously have a lot of space after school, but it wouldn't do. Okay.
And as the days get shorter, so then the time constraints also become a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Okay, thank you. The other thing is I recently attended the meeting for the Fairlawn Alliance for Substance Abuse Prevention, and I know that there's been a lot of media coverage on opioids, but I don't want the community, the public, to forget about the vaping issue. So on October 19th, between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock, there's going to be a presentation on vaping. Flyers were supposedly sent to the district, and I'm asking that these flyers be put onto Peach Jar so that our community, can see and attend this particular session on vaping. And also, I wanted the children in grades 5 and 6 at Memorial to know that on October 16th, they're going to start the LEAD program. And that's it. Thank you.
Mark, I think also the administration could look and get it on our Facebook page or stuff like that.
Yes,
So,
please.
No, I'm saying, because it's good this way, some people don't get peach jar anymore. You still have people that want to be involved, because it is a great subject.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Can I say one more thing really quick, I apologize? Just piggyback on what Mark said, and maybe the district's already doing it, but the county prosecutor's office is running a very good program on fentanyl addiction and use of fentanyl, and they're
Not
Oh,
much
providing.
of an addiction, it's a death.
Yeah, but
I'm being honest,
you're
it's
right,
not much of an addiction,
But
it's
the
death.
prosecutor's office is offering assemblies for the students to talk about that. So they may have it already, maybe not, but it's just contact the county.
Our director of security standing right there, and when you talk to the prosecutor's office about the other thing, talk to see if you can find any information about that, it would be great.
Yeah, they'll come down. and do it.
Yeah, if they have any presentations they could possibly do, because I think it's something really good to,
I'll speak to the chief over
Yeah.
here to coordinate it with them.
because it's really getting scary where it's getting worse and worse now, really is.
A little bit.
All right,
Thank you, Ed.
Lisa?
Just want to say thank you for having lights on Sasso Field. It not only helps our football team or any other sports that are playing on it, but it also goes into the younger kids and their football team played this week or supposed to play this week.
We played on Tuesday.
And I think
7 and
that's
8-year-olds.
It's a great thing. I think these are even younger kids, because I know.
Mighty Mites.
Yeah.
7 and 8.
No, it's younger.
Because I know,
No,
I know the chair, one
she
of
was
the
there.
I was there, it was my son.
Yeah, and also,
I think it's they're playing tonight or something. but
no, the
there's
high
a
school's
little-
playing tonight. We don't play on this field, that, we needed a field Tuesday. And Corey was gracious enough, because to be honest with you, the running joke is that they're the first football team to play at 7 o'clock and not 6 o'clock on the field. But yes, you're great. And also, just to let you know, it was very nice to go by the field the other night at 9:30 and watch the band practicing under the lights.
Yeah.
So they were on that field, which opens up the other fields even more.
Right, great investment, fantastic, and I think it actually opened up the Fairlawn High School Cutters. We've been waiting many, many years to be undefeated, and this is the year. So,
Hopefully.
and as a cutter myself, the Rutgers coding program, I'm very familiar with, my son went through that program, but they are now doing it virtual. So it's not even that you have to go down to Jersey City 2 nights a week and a Saturday if you're going to school, but they also have it as virtual. And it's an excellent program, and my son is doing very, very well based on this program. And if it can be arranged to have that, my daughter was hooked up with Fairleigh Dickinson for one of her classes when she was in school, and she got 3 credits that she was able to not have to pay that little fee and not pay the fee of what it would be to get 3 credits at the university. So that is also a positive thing. And then I just had 2 just updated questions of like where we are on the forest playground. Is it done finally? Or there?
Well, you should have got, yeah, you'll get your minutes. Unfortunately, it was a little crazy last week. You'll get the minutes of the building grounds finance, but we've been, and again, it's the beginning of the school year. Things have been a little nuts. But you'll get to the comment, but the forest playground is done. And what was your other question?
The other question was the Foreign Point marquee that's on.
That's gonna be done in October.
Before October 15th.
Yep, it's already, it's being done by, we got that taken care of also.
And the only other minor thing, this is very, very minor, is when I go back into some of the meetings myself, there's ads on the videos, and I was just wondering who benefits from the ads that are placed on the video. YouTube.
That could be YouTube.
No, it's definitely not. I talked to my son was with me for 6 weeks. I picked his brain.
It's not us.
It is YouTube. It's absolutely YouTube.
Gotta be YouTube. We're not putting ads on.
It's absolutely YouTube.
Look into it, Danielle. Anything else? Okay, I need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We'll take a 3-minute break, go to the bathroom.
Approximately a half hour action maybe.
Approximately a half